So f of x, 2 to x minus 3 minus 4. The base function is 2 to the x. Then 2 to x minus 3 is a right 3. And then 2 to x minus 3 minus 4 is down 4. Is this okay so far?
Wait, we're doing
No, Priscilla wanted from test 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, from test 3. She wanted to see the first problem from test 3. So far, so good?
Yeah.
Okay, so then I graph. Using transformations, I have to graph 2 to the x first. And I know it crosses at 1. All exponential functions cross at 1. The pure ones. Not the ones that have transformations in them, but the pure ones. Always cross at 1, either increasing or decreasing. But they must cross at 1. Then right 3 means 1, 2, 3. This point moves here. Now this point is at 3, 1. It was at 0, 1, but now it's going to be at 3, 1. So this is 2 to x minus 3. Now on the side, I have to write and mention that there is a horizontal asymptote that is y equals 0. But when I shift this graph forward down, I have to show that I'm shifting the horizontal asymptote first to -4. Correct? So then this point now moves 4 down, which means here. So now this is the final graph. However, the problem is also asking us to determine the domain and range, and it's asking us to determine the x and y intercepts. So these we have to determine them algebraically. The domain is clear. Since it's an exponential function, there is nothing to say. However, the range is -4 to infinity. In order to determine the x-intercept of a function, what do I need to do? To determine the x-intercept of a function. Very good. So I said y equal to 0, which means 2 to x minus 3 minus 4 equals 0. I know what type of equation this is. See you on Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Yes, for the final. And you would have time because they're having the final as well, so there you go. I put that this is. Oh, this was the final. You already took the final. You took test 2. I'm sorry. Okay. In that case, I hope to see you in another class. Okay. See you. Bye. I'll see you on Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Okay. So now I know that this is an equation that is exponential. So then I have 2 to x minus 3 equals 4. I change the right-hand side, as I know, into 2 squared. Since bases are the same, we know this is a easier exponential equation in which x minus 3 equals 2, therefore x equals 5. So I determine this point, which is 5, 0. Now I need to determine this point. How do I determine this point? I make x equals 0, very good. So I have to find f of 0, which is 2 raised to 0 minus 3 minus 5, which means 2 raised to -3 and minus 5. But 2 raised to -3, we know it's 1 over 2 cubed, which is 1 over 8 minus 5. We know we have to multiply this by 8, so 1 minus 40 will be -39 over 8. So therefore, this point is 0, -39 over 8. Any questions for me? Any questions?
the total points must be added up. Is that a grade?
So, say it again?
The total, like all the points that we have.
Yes.
the total, that's the grade.
Yes. If I have made an error, I apologize. Sometimes I sit for long hours, no excuse. So just wait till the end. Don't write anything on the test, and I will recalculate your grade if I made an error, and I apologize. So don't get upset. Don't worry about it. I will correct it. Sorry if that happened. Is there anything else from test 3 that we would like to go back to? Tony? The Gauss-Jordan? Gauss-Jordan, very good. Can anyone give me the, okay, I got it. So 3x plus y plus 2z equals 31, x plus y plus 2z equals 19, and x plus 3y plus 2z equals 25. We know that the method is really requiring 1 as the first row, first column. So I can rearrange these two. It doesn't matter. The order is not important. It's one of the row operations. I'm allowed to reverse the order. So I get 1, 1, 2, 19, 3, 1, 2, 31, 1, 3, 2, 25. This is the augmented matrix. So this is accomplished, but now I need a 0 here and here. So I will have row 1 multiplied by and added to row 2, and also row 1 multiplied by and added to row 3. So now let's think and see what we need to add in there. So what do we need? In order to eliminate the 3, we will need a negative 3. And to eliminate the 1, we will need a negative 1. Would you agree so far? Do we agree? Good. So let's do that. Let me just do the first problem. Okay. Good. So then we copy the first row. This is the only one that does not change at this point. 1 times negative 3 plus 3 is 0. Tony, are you okay?
Yeah, so far.
So 1 times negative 3 plus 3 is 0. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. 3 times, negative 3 times 19, negative 57, but plus 31 is 26, negative 26. Is this step clear, everyone? Yes? Okay. Now 1 times negative 1 plus 1 is 0. 1 times negative 1 plus 3 is 2. Negative 2 times negative 1 plus 2 is 0. And 19 times negative 1 plus 26 is 25, plus 25 is 6, I meant to say. Is the second step clear? Yes? Good. So this is accomplished. Now I'm focusing on this. What do I need here?
The way I learned is totally different. When you, after you did the second step,
Yes?
as far as negative 3,
This one?
and then you add
Okay.
1 to it to get the second
So
line.
1 times negative 3 plus 3 is 0.
Yeah, correct. After that step, the way I was taught was you go back to the first line and add it to the third line.
No, I've never showed that.
That's how I learned it downstairs.
No.
It's coming out the right answer, but can
I have
you
no
just
idea.
start where you get the 0 in the third?
Here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 1 times negative 1 plus 1 is 0. 1 times negative 1 plus 3 is 2. 2 times negative 1 plus 2 is 0. 19 times negative 1 plus 25 is 6. It's exactly the same process for row 2. We got the same thing with row 3 in the same way. So now row 2 gets divided by negative 2 because we want to obtain a 1 in here. Is that okay? Which part is not clear? Do you have time after class so we can sit down and...
Yeah.
So as a reminder, these are the steps. No matter what anyone tells you, these are the correct steps. I get a 1 here, and then immediately the zeros. I get a 1 in the middle, and then immediately the zeros. I get a 1 at the bottom, and immediately the zeros. No matter what anyone on the planet tells you, this is Gauss-Jordan, and it's the only way. No one can change this.
I mean, I got the right answer the way he taught me how to do it. You go ahead. I'll stay after class. I don't want to stop the class.
No, but I remember what you did. Let me just see for a second. So where is your answer? Can
I
you?
didn't finish it because I remember asking me why I was taking it. I'm not used to having a 3 at the top on the first row.
So it doesn't matter that. But what is your answer? I just wanted to, because I didn't even see your answer.
I didn't finish it.
Oh, you didn't finish it. Okay.
I got to the 3rd step and stopped.
Okay. Well, I gave some partial credit for what you did. Okay. Should we continue this or look at the review for the final? Yes. Oh, this one. This
No,
one.
not that one. Not that one.
This you mean?
No.
Okay. Yes.
Can you go over number 4? What do you expect for number 4? The answers.
100%. The solutions are posted.
Oh, I didn't.
Well, that's fine. So first is 100%. The second one is 69%, 31%, and 20%.
And I just like plugging it calculator, right?
Yes.
And you ask for the number.
Yes. Yes. Do you need me to show that?
Can you show how you put in the calculator?
Yes, of course.
I plugged it in, but I didn't get those numbers.
Okay.
I don't know, I'm getting different numbers.
Okay, so in y equals, so we get 80 times e in parentheses negative 0.5 x, close the parenthesis, and outside plus 20. Is this the function?
Yeah.
Very, very good. Yes, Priscilla, go ahead.
No,
It's not the function.
no, I agree with what you put in.
Okay, so then I go to, and I want 0. I want 1 week. I want 4 weeks. And I want 52 weeks. So I get 100%, 69%, 31%, and 20%. Is this okay?
I missed the 0. Is that what you gave me?
Is this okay now? Very good. Other questions? Is there anything else? That's the reason why I'm really offering another session, because we only have an hour left, and I doubt that we can go over everything.
What time did you say you started?
I'm not sure. I'm giving a test, as I said, in Arnold at 10:30. So I have to go there. I have to come back. So we have to agree if we meet or not. So another option would be to meet earlier during the on the test day, on the final exam day, which is Wednesday. Yes, ladies, any questions? Lenny, any questions? So I have a meeting in Arnold till noon, and I can be here by 1. So I can review with you between 1 and 3, because at 3 o'clock I have to be with them. Actually, I should be there earlier. So that's another option. You tell me what I'm offering
I like 1 to 3. That's fine. But
on Wednesday.
on Wednesday, are you saying? I think she's saying she
before the final.
Oh, I didn't do it at that time.
Yeah. So you tell me what you want. Okay. So is there anything else from test 3 that we want to look at? Okay, so then let's see how. Now, I also recommend, if you'd like to stay for the second class tonight, we can continue and try to finish tonight everything. It's up to you. So do we have other questions from test 3? Okay, so let's start with this. Tell me what you would like to see again. Maybe you are comfortable with a lot of these problems and you don't want to see them again. So at this point. So tell me what you would like to see again. Yes, Lani, go ahead. I gave them out last time. I'm sorry?
I don't think I was here.
Okay. Yes, let's continue with number 6. Okay, number 6. Yes, we had this on the previous test. It's the same graph, everything the same questions. So what is the domain? I'm sorry? No, it's the same question, but a lot of students ask about this, so we should do it. So it's a very good question to ask. What is the domain? The domain is all real numbers, negative infinity to infinity. What is the range? So the range is between, I think I see correctly, you have better eyes than I do. I think I see -4 to infinity. Correct me if I'm wrong and I'll change it. What are the zeros of the function? Obviously, I see here at +3, and I think I see it at +7. So it says to the right, but I'm going to present both. So x equals 3 and x equals 7. What is the y-intercept? It appears to be 19, 20, 21, 22. Is it 21, I think? Is it 21?
Yeah.
Okay, so y equals 21. In an ordered pair, 0, 21. Over what interval is f increasing? So f is increasing only between 3, 4, 5. Between 5 and infinity. So 5 and infinity, the function is increasing. On what interval is the function decreasing? Between 0 and 5. Decreasing between 0 and 5. Over what interval is f constant? I will say f is constant between -infinity and 0. Stop me if you have questions on any of this, or you disagree, or you want to say something. What is the number at which f has a relative minimum? If I'm not mistaken, is x equals 5. What is the relative minimum? Y equals -4. What is f of -1? It's 21. What are the x values where f of x is -3? I have no idea. I have to draw a horizontal line. I think it's 4 and 7. No. 4 and 6. So x equals 4 and x equals 7. I said 7. I said 6 and I wrote 7. Is f? No. It's not symmetric. It's not a symmetric graph. It's not symmetric with respect to the origin. It's not symmetric with respect to the y-axis. Are these answers clear?
E and F.
E and F?
It's increasing.
Yeah, the function is increasing between x equals 5 and infinity. On this interval, the function is increasing.
So just to clarify.
Yes.
When it asks, because I always get confused when it says what is the number and what is the relative minimum.
Yes. So yes. So for example, if you call me one day and say, "Where are you?" It's the location.
So X.
Exactly. Now you also ask me, okay, I know your location. What is the altitude? That is the max or the min. So my location is I'm at Arundel Mills. How high on the 4th floor? That would be a silly example of
So when it asks directly what the minimum is, it's looking for the height.
exactly,
Got it.
not the location. The location is where I am. I am
confused.
yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Yes, Mana, can I help you?
No, it's okay.
I can.
No, it's nothing. You can keep going. It's okay. It's not like a question of
Okay.
something like that.
Okay.
Wait, and so how did echo -1 is 21?
So I draw a vertical line at -1. It hits the graph at this point, and I read the y value. Anything else? What is our next step? Next question. Anything else that you would like to continue with? All these problems were on the previous test in some form or another. It doesn't matter. We still have to review. Yes.
Can we do number 2?
Yes, number 2. So let's go back to number 2. The area is 91 square feet. So it's rectangular, 91 square feet, x and y. Its length is 6 feet longer than the width. So the area is 91. And it says that its length is 6 feet longer than the width. How do I express that in a form of an equation? Its length is 6 feet longer than the width. Correct? So I will write, so if the length is x, the length is 6 feet longer than the width. And the area is, by definition, x times y. And we know what we're going to do.
You get 291 feet squared.
We're looking at, are we looking at problem 2? Maybe I'm copying from something else. Okay. The area of the rectangle is 91 square feet. Its length is 6 feet longer than the width. Find the length and the width. We're talking about problem 2. So can you ask the question one more time?
I'm looking at where you had 291 feet squared. Where did you get that from?
This is y. This is the width, y.
Oh, that's a Y.
Yes, this is the area. And this is the length. Is this better? So now we have 91 equals 6 plus y times y. Of course, this is what type of equation, and what do I do with it? Yes. So I have y squared plus 6y minus 91 equals 0. So let's find y. Negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And let me know what you get. How much do we get? We have an answer? Should I do it?
I did it. I didn't do it like that. I did it factoring, so I got -7 and 13.
Okay, well, I believe you. X equals 13 and x equals -7, which
Oh,
cannot.
wait, oh, sorry. And then when you negative 13 power 7 because I didn't set equals to 0. Like x, I got x plus 13, x minus 7.
So the solutions are negative.
So negative 13 power 7.
Oh, okay, that's okay.
Yeah, sorry for that.
No problem, no problem. So x equals negative 13 feet, which cannot be considered, and it's not x but y. And y equals 7 feet. If y equals 7 feet, then x equals 13 feet. 7 times 13 is indeed 91. So it's 13 by 7. Any questions on this problem?
Can you go back all the way up to
Sure.
the box real quick?
Sure.
Like all the way when you drew the box. Yeah.
Any questions? Next question, anything you'd like to continue with? Let's look at number 5. In number 5, we are given an absolute value inequality. And the absolute value inequality is the absolute value of 9x plus 9 divided by 9 greater than or equal to 2. Is it done, Mana? Is it done? Do you still need it?
Oh, no, yeah. Oh, I'm good.
Okay, good. So of course what I would do, I will factor out 9 inside the absolute value. Why? Because I can simplify and make it much easier. So now I have the absolute value of x plus 1 greater than or equal to 2. Now we have to go back and remember what we do with the absolute value being greater than or equal to a number. What are the options? Remember, for the absolute value inequalities, we only have 2 possibilities. This one, smaller than, or this one, bigger than. Which one is it? Correct. So then we have x plus 1 greater or equal to 2, x plus 1 less than or equal to negative 2. To the sides.
Which problem is that? Number from
5. 5.
And let's say this was the other one.
I would have written maybe between negative 3 and 3, between negative 2 and 2, and I would have been able to solve them together as a, yes, as a whole, but not now.
So the solution in interval notation is.
We're not finished. So for the first one, I have to write x greater than or equal to 1. And for the second one, x less than or equal to negative 3. The solution has to have the union in between. Negative infinity and negative 3, union 1 to infinity. This is always the case. When I have the absolute value greater than or equal to a number, I always have to have the union symbol in the solution. Any questions?
Do you remember which unit this was? Or like which chapter?
It was the absolute value chapter 1. Yeah, first test. Good. Next question, next problem. What would you like to see next? Number 10. Number 10 it is. express the given function as a function composition. So we have h of x, which is the 8th root of x to the 5th minus 9. The inner must be this. This is not the only answer. And the outer must be the 8th root of x. But yes, you can have other answers that are correct. Next question. Anything else we want to look at? Anything else catches your eye? I hope something catches your eye, so we proceed. If not, I can choose. Yes, let's do 12. I would like to work on 18 because as well, simply because what I saw in this last test, maybe we should do that, but after we look at 12. Christopher, you said 12?
Yeah.
Okay, so 12 is our favorite, right? A negative 0.2x squared plus 1.7x and plus 5.
You said 13 on the extra credit.
You said to 12 or 13?
Wait, is that 13?
This is 12.
This is 12.
I said 12.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, sometimes I copy something else. So Mana wants to keep me on track, which is absolutely correct.
And
I copy.
move on, I'm still writing something.
Sometimes in some classes I designate someone to make sure that I copy the right answer, the right problem. Yes. And one time one of my students was so funny, he said, can you, to his neighbor, can you do it from now on? I'm tired of this. It was funny. Okay, so horizontal distance, maximum height, how far? And we know the whole spiel, right? So here we are asked to find the vertex. So the x-coordinate of the vertex is negative b over 2a. So negative 1.7 over negative 0.4. And I have to get this answer. Once I get the answer, I have to determine the maximum height. So this will be the max height. This is how far the max height happens, right? The x-coordinate of the maximum height. So what we get here is 17 when I multiply top and bottom by 10. So it's 17 over 4. I'm going to keep it as is. And then I will find f of 7/4, which is negative 0.2 7/4 squared plus 1.7 times 7/4 and plus 5.
So you multiply
17.
what by what? For 1.7.
So when we have decimal numbers in a fraction,
17.
I can multiply top and bottom by 10 in this case. Both of them have one decimal digit. So multiplying top and bottom by 10 will not change the answer. 1 second. And I get 17 divided by 4. Is that clear? Yes. Brianna?
Why did you just write 7? Did you just forget the 1? Or
I'm hungry.
the other one?
Obviously, I'm hungry. I didn't see it. No excuse. I like to eat the ones. This is my new thing. My apologies. No excuse. I meant 17 over 4. So now let's plug this in the calculator. You know what I'd like to do always. I like to put the function in, but you can say, well, it's really not necessary. You're only plugging in one number. That's true too. It's up to you. So negative 0.2 x squared, and then plus 1.7x, and then plus 5. And second in table, and I want to plug in not 7, but 17/4. Oops. 17 divided by 4. And I get 8.6125. And that is the maximum height, 8.6. I put in the function. Yes, of course. I put in the function. Negative 0.2. It's better someone check what I put in. So negative 0.2 x squared plus 1.7 x plus 5. So now how far does it go? If you remember, it's this. So it's this. Yes, I have to find the x-intercept. I don't care for the negative one, but I do care for the positive one. So I said y equal to 0. Negative 0.2 x squared plus 1.7 x plus 5 is 0. I personally like to clean it up before I put in the calculator with the quadratic formula. So I would like to multiply everything by negative 10. So 2x squared minus 17x and minus 50 equals 0. I think this is a good idea, especially when the leading coefficient is negative. You don't want to forget to put the negative in the denominator. Who knows what? So negative 0.2 times negative 10 is this. 1.7 times negative 10 is this. And 5 times negative 10 is this. And now I can start the quadratic formula. So then x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, 4 times 2 times 50, divided by 2 times a. It's highly recommended to put everything at once in the graphing calculator. Not do it step by step, because you pile up the error. You can say, is it such a big deal? It's not a big deal. It's just a few inches here and there. That's true too, but I recommend do this. Parentheses around the top, 17 plus the square root in parentheses, 17 squared plus 4 times 2 is 8, 5 times 8, 400 with a 0, of course. You don't have to do that. I just make it easier, I think, for myself. Okay. And then the other one, just copy. It's easier for you with the calculator. It's a little bit more cumbersome for me with, maybe there is a way and I shortcut and I don't know it. So as I said, we are not really interested in the negative solution. I only care for 10.8. So 10.8 feet. So when we throw the ball with having this trajectory, 10.8 feet away from where it was thrown up and out, we'll hit the ground. Any questions? So you're not going to have to select, but obviously it's not A, it's not B, definitely it's not B, it's not C, because the y-intercept is 5. So when you plug in 0 here, 0, 0, 5, this one doesn't start at 5. This one starts below 5. This one starts at 15. Only this one starts at 5, and it hits the ground a little bit beyond 10. So that will be the correct graph. Yes?
Which reference? I was, again, please advance.
Good. Next question. Anything else you would like to continue with? Oh, yes, of course. Yes, and actually, I'd like to show the problem from, I hope you noticed that I added the bonus already to your test 2 grade. You saw that? Okay. And I will still replace the lowest test grade with the final exam grade as I promised. So I would like to look at the equation that we had on this past test. Although I really wanted to review the previous test more, but this caught my eye. So log base 2 of x minus 1 minus log base 2 of x plus 3 equals log base 2 of 1 over x. So I just want to point out a mistake only for one purpose, to understand and not make it again. I don't need to think that I'm trying to be funny or something, because that's not why I'm showing the mistake. I'm just trying to make sure that we learn from it. I saw something like this. On a few tests, maybe 2, maybe 3. Is it clear that this makes no sense? We remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So then remember, we have to write that x minus 1 is greater than 0. We have to write that x plus 3 is greater than 0. And we have to write that 1 over x is greater than 0. Because we need to find the common domain. Or, remember the second option. You can say, no, I'm not going to waste my time or spend my time finding the common domain. But then you have to go back and check. It's one or the other. It doesn't matter which one. It doesn't matter to me which one you use. But I prefer the domain. If you say, no, I don't care for the domain, but I promise to go back and check, that's fine too. It's a legitimate method, but you have to check. So as you see, this one is greater than 1. This one is greater than a negative 3. And of course, if this is a positive number, which it is, this must be positive for the fraction to be positive. So then the third one is this. So this is the common domain, 1 to infinity. If I don't get an answer that is between 1 and infinity, I will have to drop it. Okay, so now we have to condense. Then we'll look at 18 or 19, or the problem from the final exam. Okay, so remember how we condense. It's log base 2 of x minus 1 over x plus 3 equals log base 2 of 1 over x. And remember the procedure. And please don't cross out the logs. So we are thinking, just thinking right now. 2 logs are equal, and they have the same base. What has to happen to these numbers? Can this one be 15 and this one 29? No, because log base 2 of 15 will never equal log base 2 of 29. So then what has to happen? They must equal each other, correct? So I have log base 2, log base 2. They're equal. So therefore, the expressions must be the same. So then x minus 1 over x plus 3 equals 1 over x. I've done this from day 1 of this course. It's a proportion. I'll cross multiply. And then I have x squared minus x equals x plus 3. Or x squared minus 2x minus 3 is 0. I will factor and get solution. So I get 2 options, 3 and negative 1. And you should say not so fast. What do I mean by not so fast? And you will say, you just determined the common domain. It's very clear that this is not considered a solution. That's the only one. Or you go back and check. So now from this review, that was problem 18. Any questions on this? Okay, so let's look at problem 18. Solve log base 2 of x plus 6 plus log base 2 of x plus 5 equals 1.